Okay, let's finish this problem up. What if the shot puts maximum horizontal distance to the nearest tenth of a foot, or the distance of the throw? So again, here's my basic little graph here. Something like this. And this time they're asking for this point over here. That this distance from here to here, that's the horizontal distance. And so what they're wanting us to do is to find the x-intercept. As always, I set equal to 0 and solve. So negative 0.04 x squared plus 2.1x plus 6.1 equals 0. Again, I don't like that first guy to be negative. I mean, you can work with it being negative. I just don't like it. So I'm going to say that 0.04x squared minus 2.1x minus 6.1 equals 0. And we certainly aren't going to try to factor that. So doing the quadratic formula. I'm going to get x equals negative 2.1 plus or minus the square root of negative 2.1 squared minus 4 times 0.04 times negative 0.61 all over 2 times 0.04. Most definitely a calculator here. So that's 2.1 plus or minus, and just doing all the arithmetic inside that square root. And remember what I've said about keeping that negative number in parentheses. It has to be in parentheses. So negative 2.1 squared minus 4 times 0.04 times negative 6.1. I do that, and the inside there comes out to be 5.386 all over 0.08. It's going to be 2.1 plus or minus, then doing the square root of that. I get 2.32 all over 0.08, which gives me 2.1 minus 2.32 over 0.08, or 2.1 plus 2.32 over 0.08. This guy's negative, right? 2.1 minus 2.32, this guy's negative. And that doesn't make any sense in this problem. Now, if I were doing the whole parabola, that's the guy over here. But I'm not doing the whole parabola because this is just about someone throwing a shot put. So I only want this guy over here. So this guy's negative, so I reject that. And then I ask a calculator what that is. 2.1 plus 2.32 divided by I just did it wrong on my calculator. 2.1 plus 2.32 divided by 0.08 comes up with approximately 55.25. And then we can check that also. So going back to the picture here, we wanted that x-intercept that we said it should be about 55.25. So I'm just going to do a trace. And let's zero in again so you can see it a little better, or zoom in so you can see it a little better. Do a trace, and I'm going to type in the number I got, which was 55.25, all right? 55.25 down at the bottom. So trace 55.25. And if I'm correct, after I hit enter, I should see my cursor clear at the end there. And I hit enter, and you can see it just blinking at the end. And so we are right. And then notice here, I mean, because again, we rounded things. We rounded things all the way along. If it were a perfect answer, my y-coordinate here would be 0. Because if it was a perfect x-intercept, the y-coordinate has to be 0. But notice here it's just really close to 0 because I rounded things. And so, but we do know we're right. We found that x-intercept. Okay, last thing we need to do in this problem and this section. This section is then over. Same function. From what height was the shot released? So again, my basic picture looks something like that. That's what my basic picture here. And so this point right here, and this is certainly not to scale. These pictures are not to scale at all. This right here, there's the height from which it was released. And so again, this problem really not terribly difficult, but it was about understanding what each one of the phrases in English told us mathematically. That this is a person throwing a shot put. And so the height from which it would release would be pretty much right from where the person was standing, that y-intercept. So I just need to find the y-intercept. And so as always, plug in x equals 0. So y equals, and it was, I think they called it g of 0, which would be negative 0.4 times 0 squared minus 2.1 times 0, except it's plus, and then plus 6.1, and I get 6.1, which seems reasonable. I mean, not that I know anything about shot puts, so I don't know if this 55 feet was reasonable for a shot put. You know, can people throw shot puts that far? I don't know. But this makes sense to me. Let's say the person throwing the shot put was 6 feet tall. So they started, when they had their, say the person was just under 6 feet tall, and so when they went to throw their shot put and their arm was maybe up a little bit, the height from which they released the shot put, 6.1. And so there's the height from which the shot put was released. And that is the end of this section. And so we'll conclude this video.